Okay, this lesson is 4.2, dividing fractions. All right. First thing we're going to do is actually use a model to show you what you are doing when you actually divide a fraction by a fraction. Okay. So the example is 3/4 divided by 1/8. So when you're dividing, sometimes you can think of it as how many times does 1/8 fit into 3/4? Okay, that's the question. How many times does 1/8 fit into 3/4? Okay, so 3/4 divided by 1/8 looks like this in a model. So if this is the whole bar, right? Let's say this is like a candy bar. Okay, this is the whole thing. It has been broken into 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. So each of those pieces is a 4th, okay? But now we're going to break it into 8ths, okay? So if I put a little set of dots here, and here, and here, and here, now I have 8 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each of these pieces that are this big are 4ths, and each of these pieces that are this big are called 8ths. Okay? So we want to know how many 8ths fit into 3/4. Well, let's color in 3/4. So this is 1/4. This is 2/4. This is 3/4. Okay? That is 3/4. So how many 1/8ths fit into that? So 3/4 divided by 1/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3/4 divided by 1/8 is actually 6, because 1/8 fits into 3/4 6 times. All right? That is a model of what we are doing when we're dividing fractions. But instead of having to draw a model every single time, you can use what's called reciprocals to divide fractions. So what is a reciprocal? All right. R-E-C-I-P-R-O-C-A-L. A reciprocal is the flip of a fraction. When you multiply reciprocals, the product will be 1. So when you multiply 2 reciprocals together, you will get an answer of 1. So let's look at this with examples. This says find the reciprocals, then find their products, okay? So the first example is 1/8. The reciprocal of 1/8 would be 8/1, right? We just flip the numbers over. That's what a reciprocal is. You flip the numbers over. That's how you find the reciprocal. So what if we multiply those together? We multiply 1/8 times 8/1. We get 1 times 8, which is 8. And we get 8 times 1, which is 8. And 8 divided by 8 is 1. Okay? So when you multiply reciprocals, the product will always be 1. Let's say we have a whole number, 5. What would the reciprocal of 5 be? Well, we said in the last lesson that you could make every whole number into a fraction by putting a denominator of 1. Okay, so the reciprocal of 5 would be 1/5. All right, so what if we multiply those together? We multiply 5 for 1, 1/5. We get 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. 1. This works no matter what the fraction is. The reciprocal is the flip. No matter what the whole number is, you turn it into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it, and the reciprocal will be the flip. So for example, even if you had something like 5/8, the reciprocal would be 8/5. And if you multiplied those together, 5 times 8 would be 40, and 8 times 5 would be 40, so you would get 1. Okay? So reciprocals are flips of each other, and when you multiply reciprocals together, you get a product of 1. Well, how is this useful when we're dividing fractions? Well, because to divide fractions, you use this little trick. It's called keep, it's called keep, change, flip. And that flip right there is the reciprocal, okay? So how do you actually do that? You do it like this. The keep means keep the first fraction the same, okay? Keep the first fraction, that's the dividend. You change the division to multiplication. So this is what you change right here. The division gets changed to multiplication. It says flip the next fraction. The next fraction, and I should have typed this in, is the divisor. That is the number you're dividing by. 9 times divided by 2/5. So we're going to flip the divisor. Keep, change, flip. Okay? So we keep the first fraction exactly the same. We don't do anything to it. We change the division to multiplication, and then we flip the divisor, or we flip the second fraction. So it becomes 5/2. And now we know how to multiply this, but I see a way to cross cancel. I like to cross cancel, meaning I like to reduce the fractions before I multiply. So I can see 5 and 10, 5 and 10 have a common factor. So one numerator and one denominator have a common factor of 5. So if I divide both this numerator and this denominator by 5, I will reduce the fractions before I multiply. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, that's cross canceling. Now I can do the multiplication. 9 times 1 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so that is an improper fraction, so I can turn that into a mixed number by doing 9 divided by 4. How many times can 4 fit into 9? It can fit in 2 times, because 4 times 2 is 8. So 4 fits into 9 2 times with 1 left over. I'm going to put the 1 here, and I'm going to keep the denominator 4. So 9/10 divided by 2/5 equals 2 and 1/4. Okay? And that is how you divide fractions. Keep, change, flip. Now the next page, we are going to take a look at our learn and do's. Okay? Now in your learn and do, there are some problems that I want to take a look at. Okay? What I want to do is this one right here, number 18. Okay, just to give you a start. Now you have some IXL, you have a Go Math assignment in HMH, and then you have some paper pencil. See how it says use scratch paper? I would use scratch paper for all of these. Use scratch paper for the IXL, use scratch paper for the Go Math, and use scratch paper even for this paper pencil assignment, okay? But I'm going to do number 18. Number 18 is 21/32 divided by 7/8. And let's zoom in a little bit so you can see that better. Okay. Is that too blurry? 21/32 divided by 7/8. Remember, I'm going to keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep the 21/32. I'm going to change the division to multiplication. Then I'm going to flip the next fraction or the divisor. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to cross cancel because 8 and 32 have a common factor of 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 32 divided by 8 is 4. 7 and 21 also have a common factor. That's 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 21 divided by 7 is 3. Now I can do 3 times 1, which is 3, and 4 times 1, which is 4. So 21 over 32 divided by 7/8 is 3/4. And you can see why I think you need scratch paper, because I had to take all that space to get that answer, and there really isn't enough room on this page for you to take that much space. So use scratch paper for the IXL, for the HMH, and for the paper pencil prep.